This is the console that we recovered from the junkyard. As you can see, it's pretty nasty. I got most of the stuff off. Monique's on the inside house right now, cleaning all these accessory parts, getting them. I completely took them everything apart to clean it. It's pretty nasty out the junkyard. All right, so we got the console all nice and cleaned up. It's got a few blemishes on it, like right here, and I don't know exactly what that is. I'm gonna eventually change the panels out to gray panels. Got some blemishes. I guess that's maybe where the seat was rubbing or something in the other vehicle. But overall, this is good to get started on what I'm gonna be doing, because this panel is where I'll mount a VHF ham radio and a 700 megahertz fire department Elwin radio. Now there's a lot of space left underneath here where the Bose amplifier used to be. One of those radios may be remote headed. The guts of the radio will be mounted down here, and the head will just be mounted up here. I gotta get another console to see what we're gonna do with that and start doing some of the work. But this will let me have one in the vehicle that I can start seeing how I feel it out and what I want to do with it. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is remove this panel, and the glove box panel. I got to replace the glove box panel with one that's open right here, and remove the jump seat. The console goes in, it bolts into the 4 bolts on the center, and it's got a little bracket that goes right here behind where the cigarette lighters are at right now. I will probably end up extending the wires from these 2 cigarette lighter holes, just because I don't have the harness that goes in the unit. It's actually an additional harness that comes up. It connects to the dashboard and then runs over here to each side of the fuse boxes to run the speakers. So I'm going to leave everything connected to the original factory radio and the dashboard. It would just be easier for me to extend those 2 connectors to the front of the console. So all right, I'll go ahead and start pulling some of this stuff out, and we'll snip a few little bits of video here and there as I go. All right, we got all the lower panels removed from the dashboard all the way across. I actually drilled the rivets out of the piece that hold the glove box. I'm going to use my original glove box, and probably should clean this a little bit better back here, but I'm gonna have to take all this out again. I gotta go to make another trip to the junkyard because I'm having problems with this air box. The mode selector is broken. It blows out of all the vents. So I just got up there and tried to actuate the mode selector by hand, and the door is actually broken in there. So we're gonna have a video in the future with all this coming out. But remove the panel underneath. This panel is going to stay the same, the one that was underneath here. Remove the panel that goes where the cigarette lighters are at across the glove box. That one will be replaced with a new one that is cut right here. This, I'm just going to take the wiring harness off the original 2 cigarette lighters right here, and it's going to come up, and it's going to be long enough to plug into here. When you unplug the seat, this has actually got an airbag switch on this side. At least mine does, until I reprogram the BCM and put a regular switch in. You're going to have to use a little jeweler or a precision screwdriver to eject that, because that's what turns the airbag off and on for the passenger side. Driver's side does not have one of those. It's a regular plug. So, all right, we're about to set the console in here. This, whenever you get the console out of the donor vehicle, you need to be sure to get this guy. These 2 brackets right here is even in the trucks that don't come with consoles, it's there. So get out the truck, chicken. This guy bolts up in there like this. You got 2 bolt holes right here, and that just goes up. Now your console is going to slide up against there, and it's going to screw in right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get all that put in. We'll show you what it looks like with the console. All right, we've got the glove box piece on. We've got the console in place. Now, I'm going to show you what I did. I just drilled a small hole right here. It was a half inch hole, or 3/4 inch hole. That was enough for me to get those two connectors through. So let's just connect it back to where it originally was, and those will go to each one of the connectors at the top. The Tahoes that these come out of, I could not find in the junkyard, so this one is a little bit lighter. Oddly enough, the whole dash on this other one was two-tone. They just vinyl dyed this. So I'm going to experiment with some of the other panels, see if I can get that dye off. Underneath it's actually the same color as mine. If not, I'll just try to relocate another panel, but this will do for now. The dash matches the console. Eventually we're going to go with gray interior, but this is good enough for now. So I will get the seats in and get all this bolted back up, and we'll show you what it looks like with the console. Right, this is the view from the passenger side. Got everything back together. You see the difference in those colors real good right there. So this is the module that's going to go in this door whenever I convert them over to power. If you look on the back, one of these has this is US with RFA. I don't know if this does TPMS, but I got one that says RF with TPMS also. So this is the original panel. This is the original panel right here with the that came in the truck. Both cell panels on the side are original, so it came out nice. Now what I'm gonna do right here is I'm gonna CNC cut a blank off plate for that, and I'm gonna put a speaker in there that's gonna be connected to the radios up here. So I'll probably put the VHF radio right here and the 700 radio right here. All right, well, that's one console from a Yukon or Denali installed into a Chevrolet, a GMC Sierra 1500, GMT800. It's all the platforms that they cross. And I'll go ahead and put up some pictures of the part numbers right here. This is the original equipment part numbers off of each one of the individual pieces that we used to do the project. Everything was sourced from the pull-apart junkyard. I had to go through a couple of different vehicles to get them. We actually ran into one douchebag that had 4 of these consoles on the back of a golf cart. He was going through and just randomly pulling every console he can get his hands on. I ended up getting 2 consoles, one of them so I can make, I don't have all the pieces for the top of it, but I do have the inserts so that I can cut and get the radios to fit. One pull apart tried to make me pay for the Bose amp that's in there, which unless you have the harness for the Bose amp to work is pretty useless, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I don't want it. If you want the Bose amp, I'll take it out and leave it on the counter for you. The other pull apart was like, you know, dude, we just sell it for a whole console. So if you go and get them at pull apart, watch and be sure they don't nickel and dime you. And I'm gonna probably end up putting a small sub in this box, and I'm just gonna drive it with an aftermarket amplifier. I don't know, if on maybe a Digital Design 6 or something I can get a 6-inch sub in. The center of the console has a bunch of leftover space in there. I will probably end up using that either for some type of amplifier for the RF gear, or maybe an HF radio that's connected to an Android head unit. Alright, you guys have a good day. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up, hit the bell button. K5MOB signing off.